Hey, yo, new day, new verse. We continue on into Isaiah. Today we're going to be wrapping up the last few verses of the chapter for picking up with chapter 59 as the week goes on, God willing. Father God, thank you for your words, for your wisdom, for the strength, the understanding, the peace you give. Lord, just thank you that we can dwell with you. Lord, lead the way. We worship you, praise you, and just thank you for all you do. Thank you that we need not worry about tomorrow, but can focus on today, here, now, in this moment, and just be with you. This present gift. I'm focused on the history. I'm curious of the mystery. Simply focused on this moment with you, the one that will never come again. We praise you and worship you, oh Lord God Jesus. Amen. Digging in with chapter 58, verses 12 to 14. Some of you will rebuild the deserted ruins of your city. Then you will be known as rebuilders of walls and a restorer of homes. Keep the Sabbath day holy. Don't pursue your own interests on that day, but enjoy the Sabbath. And speak of it with delight as the Lord's holy day. Honor the Sabbath in everything you do on that day, and don't follow your own desires or talk idly. Then Yahweh will be your delight. I will give you great honor and satisfy you with the inheritance I promised your ancestor Jacob. I, Yahweh, have spoken. I really enjoy digging into the word together with you guys. It's a blessing to get to do. I kind of was curious as to pause there, and we'll kind of thinking on it, ruminating, to borrow the word, thinking about those different kind of, what it is, what it means, what are the connections really? Because there's, ask two rabbis, get three answers kind of thing. What are the kind of connections of just seeing in this section? And I thought about Nehemiah a lot. In fact, the first time I went through it, the first part that came to my mind is Rebuilder of Walls, Nehemiah. And thinking about Nehemiah and Ezra, because it's one book, scroll, and it's one scroll, but you give it as two books. I think about Ezra and Nehemiah, and that makes me think about Daniel, because the whole 70-year period of Jeremiah and, Nehemiah and Ezra are part of that return, and yet, it's not going to be after this time. Why? Well, because the hearts haven't changed. And it makes me think, right? Because Nehemiah is up against a wall. Really, the whole lot of them are. And it's sad that none of it really takes. There's still a complete lack of abandonment. You see why the 70 years doesn't come, the whole writing of Daniel. But digging into these words here, thinking about what it is to be a restorer of homes and a rebuilder of walls. Because walls in general, right? We usually use them to divide, a security thing. You're there, I'm here, wall between, do not cross. At least that's usually how we use them, sometimes boundary markers and the like, and varying steps in between. And I think about all the different times that walls appear in the Bible, and every time God gets involved, there are gates, especially think about Revelation. I think, 3, 6, 9, 12 gates, 3 on each side. And it just makes me think it's well, we're putting up walls, God is making a way. And then the fact that it's 3 gates on each side, and he is the gate, and 3, with a lot of really fun imagery in there. It's a lot of fun to play through Revelation, just looking at all of the deep cut references. And I dig into, because it really is it's the Super Sentai Power Rangers crossover massive extravaganza of the word. It brings in everything together. It is a massive thing. The more I dig through these words, the more it just makes me giggle, because it's this big crossover event. That's the term I was looking for. It's this massive combination of events of just, wow, look at that. And it's really quite beautiful, because as I dig through these words, as we get to dig through together, right? Talking about keeping the Sabbath day holy. It's one integrated text. So it makes me think about Jesus when he came to the discussions of the Sabbath for him, right? Because he's he's Lord of the Sabbath. The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. And it makes me think about Genesis, because, the Sabbath is the day God rested, and the idea of creation. Because, again, interconnected text. And I think about this idea of pursuing your own interest on that day. And it's okay, so the day is a day of rest, given to look at the fact that even God rests. It's an opportunity. And more than that, when given to Israel, it was for everyone. Slave, free. It wasn't just, I'm rich, I have all the power, I can sit on my laurels and do nothing all day. And just spend the money. No, it was literally, hey, it was for everybody. And I'm not saying that all rich people do that in any way, shape, or form. It's a bad caricature example. I'm just reductive ad absurdum. I use it a lot here. Because I try to get to the point that a lot of the behaviors we choose now are kind of already absurd. The idea of the Sabbath is a day of rest for everyone, right? The day of rest that is one where we don't pursue our own interests, but it's a day we enjoy. A day of celebration of, wow, thank you for this beautiful moment. Thank you for this wonderful thing. And even Jesus points out, it's like, well, no, you let go of your dog, you take your animals out for water and food, you take care of them, you take care of people. So it's not necessarily a day just to languish and do nothing, and it's not just a day to sanction off. And don't get me wrong, there is a beautiful aspect of that, of setting a day aside just for rest. And it's a very wise thing to do, I'm finding, the more and more I go through. And I look at this idea of Sabbath, and I look at it not just on the micro day of rest, in its own macro form, mind you, but I think about the macro idea. And I think about if each day is a day that we treat as the one he made. And I recognize that verse is about, victory and conquest and war, and yay, this is the celebration, the rescue, that's every day for us. If we're living in such a way that other people come running, then every day is an opportunity that people are getting rescued. Every day is an opportunity to rejoice that our fallen foe is defeated, and that defeat is enforced in the lives of others who are languishing under those chains. Connecting the whole thing. The day when we got to live in such a way that does not pursue our own interests, but seeks the wellness, the goodness, the betterness, the betterment. We're talking about work here, right? Benefit, betterment, beautification of another person. And beautiment if you want to keep the MENTs. Poke into it. So can I. So can we all. It's an opportunity to really hear each other and see, to talk. To not just scroll through or swipe in one direction as if just, oh yeah, I'm going to take an entire person and sum them down to this one snapshot, this one image, this one Instagram filter, this one Snapchat feed, whatever. It's not going to be one of these next TikTok things. It's just going to be a simple, hey, I want to see you. I want to know you. Because this day that the Lord has given, this moment that we've been given, this moment that will never come again, is a moment that we can do great things with it. And sometimes that great thing is resting, because we're not meant to go all the whole time. And that's why I really love the interwoven connectedness of it. Because the idea for Isaiah's people in time, hey guys, treat this day as a wonderful thing. Treat it as a gift. Don't go about business as usual. Actually treat it as a wonderful thing, as a gift. Let people rest. Don't talk idly. Don't chase after your own desires. Seek the Lord on this day. And I see the wovenness of digging in deeper, and suddenly we seek the Lord constantly so that every day is a Sabbath. In a way. Maybe it's not Shabbat, but it is a day of resting the old self and walking in the new. So it is a Lord-made day to rejoice in, and it is an opportunity to shift the way we see the world. And sometimes in the discernment, in the listening, in the relationship with him, the work we're supposed to be doing will be sitting there, watching a movie, eating chips, and just vegging. VEGGING. Taking a moment to rest. We are not machines meant to go. We are people. And the beautiful thing is when we actually can use our muchness to benefit other people. That's why I don't really like talking about, oh, we should do this, we should do that, we shouldn't do that. This is what I've seen in my experiences. I've gone through moments of doing the exact opposite. I've been the kind of person who didn't give a darn about the idea of Shabbat, didn't care about the idea of rest, just went because I nose to the grindstone. If I'm going to be on top of the pyramid, I'm going to have to work my tail off to get there, to rule over the damn thing with an iron hand. If I want to build my throne, have to work at it. And after I looked down and saw the desecration and wake of misery in my path because my goal had been so self-focused and self-oriented that even if it was an idea of, hey, I can benefit everyone around me, I did it the wrong way. The destruction was so much worse. I've been the type of person who, living for the weekend, every day is the weekend, absolutely do nothing, the lounging on, that's why I can make the reductive ad absurdum. It had nothing to do with any kind of richness and everything to do with poorness. Not just poverty in the world sense, but poverty in here. There's nothing left of me. I was spent. I was tired. I was done. Given up because, well, humanity is cruel, unkind, and trying to change the world. You have to do it either through brutality or what's the point? So I've seen both sides of the spectrum. This is why I know the extremes don't work. So when I look at these words and I see this speaking of Sabbath and everything you do on that day, I can see the beautiful here we start, just taking a day to stop focusing on ourselves and seeing others, and then watch that bloom into 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5, and then 6, and then 7, and then suddenly every day is that one beautiful day. And it's quite an interesting parallel, because there was times in my life where it felt very Groundhog Day-esque, repeating the day in and day out, same day, and like, I could walk into traffic just to see if it reset. Pretty sure I'm in a simulation. Because I hated it. It's where I was years ago, broken and hurting. And in a wonderful twist of irony, instead of seeing every day as a repeated Groundhog Day-like scenario, it's just one endless day. No, this is this day the Lord has made. Every opportunity is new. Every breath a gift. Every interaction an opportunity to see the handcrafted work of God. Is it always easy? No, certainly not. More so when you work retail, in any kind of position. Because when you're exposed to people at their worst, it can remind you that we're not always at our best as a species. But the point isn't who's at their best or worst. Because at that point you get into the idea of deserve, and there's a word that I don't enjoy. Because we simply don't know. And when I remind myself of that, a person at their worst is an opportunity for me to remember that God is at his best when I'm at my worst. God is always with me, always leading the way, whether or not I want to listen and receive, whether or not I actually want to shema the voice that says, hey, this is the way, walk in it. And if you will go this way, I will show you when to rest, when to get up, when to pack the tent, when to move, because we will get through this wilderness. And then suddenly we're back at Exodus. Same group of people, following the pillar of cloud by day, the pillar of fire by night. One beautiful Passover celebration of the rescue from slavery, the redemption from exile from Babylon. It's what every nation becomes. It doesn't have to. As we simply choose his way of doing it and enjoy the rest we've been given. Letting him lead the way so we know the work we're called to do. May his favor be upon you. Know that you're loved. We'll see you then.